I thought I earned that promotion, but they chose her. 5 damn years. That's how long I've bled for Dawson and Pierce. 5 years of working through lunches, canceling dates, and answering emails at 2 a.m. 5 years of turning their mediocre marketing department into the driving force behind a 37% revenue increase. And tonight, at the company's 25th anniversary gala at the Pierre, I was supposed to finally get what I deserved. The ballroom glittered with the kind of opulence that makes normal people uncomfortable. Crystal chandeliers, ice sculptures that probably cost more than my monthly rent, and waiters circulating with trays of champagne that tasted like betrayal. I adjusted the emerald green silk dress I'd bought specifically for this moment. A whole paycheck, but worth it for the way it made my eyes look like they could cut glass. And practiced my humble winner smile in the reflection of my salad fork. Across the room, Michael Dawson, our CEO and resident egomaniac, tapped his champagne flute with a sterling silver spoon. The room fell into that hush that only happens when people are pretending not to care about something they're desperate to hear. "Before we enjoy tonight's performance," Michael said with that smarmy grin that made me want to stab him with a shrimp fork, "I want to recognize someone truly special." My palms went damp. This was it. After 3 years as marketing manager, after delivering the Carmichael account that saved Q4, after literally rewriting Emily's terrible presentation last month, which she'd taken full credit for, the little shit, Senior VP was finally mine. Michael's eyes flicked to me for half a second before sliding right past. "Someone who's brought incredible fresh energy to our team," he continued, and my stomach dropped like a lead balloon. No. Please join me in congratulating our new Senior Vice President of Marketing, Emily Carter." The applause was like white noise in my ears. I watched as Emily, 26 years old, 6 months at the company, and whose greatest professional achievement was once going viral on TikTok for a dance trend, practically floated to the podium in her ridiculously tight pink dress. "Oh, my God," she squealed into the microphone, bouncing on her heels like this was a surprise birthday party rather than a corporate promotion. "I am like literally shaking right now. Michael, you're the best mentor ever." I took a gulp of wine so large I nearly choked. Across the table, Sarah from accounting shot me a look that said, "Are you okay?" I responded with a smile so forced it hurt my cheeks. Michael draped an arm around Emily's shoulders like she'd just won Miss America. "What I love about Emily is how she challenges the status quo," he announced to the room. "Sometimes you need that new perspective, that disruptive energy." His eyes found mine again, and this time they didn't look away. "No offense, Anna, but you can be a little predictable." Predictable, as in the person who'd never missed a deadline. As in the one who'd salvaged the Lawson deal when Emily accidentally sent the wrong contract. As in the reason our department hadn't completely imploded this year. I made sure my voice didn't shake. None taken. But then, on my way to the bathroom, read, to have a quiet mental breakdown in a marble-lined stall, I passed the VIP lounge. The door was slightly ajar, and Emily's grating voice carried into the hallway. "Can you believe her face when they announced my name?" She cackled. "I thought old reliable Anna was going to have an aneurysm right there at the table." A deeper laugh responded. Michael's. "Give her time, she'll come around." She'll have to. Because guess what? The sound of ice clinking in a glass. Now the bitch reports to me. I felt something hot and dangerous uncoil in my chest. I turned too fast, my elbow connecting with a hideous antique vase that had probably been in Michael's family since the Gilded Age. It hit the floor with a crash that silenced the entire ballroom. 1,000 porcelain shards glittered on the hardwood like my shattered dignity. Emily came rushing out, her face the perfect picture of concern. "Oh my God, Anna. Are you okay?" Her voice dripped with faux sympathy, but her eyes sparkled with malicious delight. The entire party stared. Michael looked like he was calculating how much this would cost him. The head of HR was already reaching for her phone, no doubt to document this incident. I looked down at the wreckage, then back up at Emily. Oops, I said, voice dripping with sweetness. Guess I'm unpredictable now. And with that, I walked out, back straight, head high, leaving behind the broken pieces of whatever loyalty I'd still foolishly clung to. Because here's the thing about predictable people. When we finally break, we don't do it halfway. If they think I'll just walk away, they don't know me at all. The champagne-induced headache from last night's gala was nothing compared to the white-hot rage pulsing through my temples. I stared at my ceiling until 4 a.m., replaying Michael's smug announcement and Emily's saccharine acceptance speech on an endless loop. When dawn finally broke, I had 3 empty coffee cups, a legal pad filled with increasingly violent doodles, and a plan taking shape in the jagged pieces of my professional pride. The Dawson and Pierce offices were eerily quiet at 6:45 a.m., just how I liked them, or rather, how I used to like them before my demotion. Now my new workspace was a glorified cubicle sandwiched between the break room and a particularly loud HVAC vent. I made a beeline for records before the vultures arrived. Janet, our 72-year-old archivist who still used a card catalog system, peered at me over her rhinestone-studded glasses. "Anna Miller," she clucked. "Haven't seen you down here since the Lawson account fiasco." "I missed your cheerful disposition," I deadpanned, sliding a venti caramel macchiato across her desk, Emily's usual order, which made the bribe even more satisfying. "Need to review some old campaign files, for archival purposes." Janet took a slow sip, eyeing me with the weary skepticism of someone who'd survived 3 corporate takeovers. "That Carter girl's got your office, doesn't she?" "Temporarily." The lie tasted bitter. HR mix-up. You know how they are. 10 minutes later, I was locked in a storage closet with Emily's personnel file. The pages smelled like printer ink and betrayal. Page 3. Emergency contact. Richard Carter, Chairman, Carter Holdings. Page 5. A handwritten post-it in Michael's distinct chicken scratch. Per golf course convo, fast track approved. Board expects merger paperwork by Q3. I nearly ripped the folder in half. This wasn't just nepotism. It was a full-blown corporate coup. Michael had traded my career for a seat at the big boys' table. Emily found me in the break room, her pink designer heels clicking like countdown to detonation. "And nah," she sing-songed, refilling her in-girl boss mug. "How's life in the peasant quarters?" She fake pouted. "Though I guess you're used to small spaces after that tiny apartment in, where was it again? Brooklyn?" The dig about my modest one-bedroom, which she'd clearly gleaned from HR files, landed exactly as intended. I watched a drop of her almond milk latte splash onto the counter. "You're right," I said sweetly. "I should upgrade. Maybe to your old place once you're back at Daddy's penthouse?" Her manicured fingers tightened around her mug. First blood to me. Michael's assistant Lisa was my next target. The poor woman jumped when I accidentally bumped her desk, sending tepid green tea across her keyboard. "Oh God, I'm so sorry." I dabbed at the spill with napkins, making sure to clean near her monitor. That's when I saw it. An open email thread titled, "Carter-Dawson Merger, Eyes Only." "Richard confirmed Emily's promotion satisfies our agreement. Your 15% equity vests upon signing. Regarding Miller's situation, dispose quietly. HR can package as voluntary resignation with 2-month severance." The screen blurred. Dispose. Like I was expired office supplies. My fingers itched to forward it to the entire company, but that would be too easy. I needed proof that would burn them both to the ground. The company archives yielded one promising lead, a corrupted file named Bermuda Transfer, logs, March 2023, that mysteriously appeared right after last year's accounting discrepancy. The timestamp matched the weekend Michael had supposedly been on a fishing trip. But the damn thing was encrypted tighter than Fort Knox, which brought me to... Derek Simmons hated me. Ever since I'd exposed his little side hustle reselling our old laptops, with client data still intact, he'd made every tech request my personal hell. "Password recovery?" He smirked, feet propped on his desk. "What's the magic word?" How about I won't report you for watching Netflix on the VPN again? His grin vanished. That file's corporate restricted. Even I can't access it without C-level approval. Bullshit. I'd seen his master keycard, the one that could unlock every server in the building. Time for Plan B. Derek's lunch break was my window of opportunity. I waited until he left for his daily Chipotle run before slipping into his lair. The keycard sat right in his top drawer, next to a disturbingly large collection of energy drinks, just as my fingers closed around it. Find what you're looking for? Derek stood in the doorway, carnitas burrito dripping onto the carpet. In my panic, I dove under his desk like a raccoon caught in a dumpster. Just drop my earring. I lied, watching my dignity circle the drain as his rolling chair crushed my fingers. Uh-huh. He kicked the drawer shut with his sneaker. You know we have cameras, right? Humiliation still burning my cheeks, I nearly bowled over Jake Torres in the stairwell, Emily's ex, and more importantly, former lead developer before she'd gotten him reassigned to the basement server room. Whoa there, Terminator. He steadied me, then clocked my expression. Let me guess. Emily? You have no idea. Oh, I've got every idea. His smile was all teeth. She dumped me the day after her promotion. Said she needed to network vertically. He lowered his voice. Funny thing, I still have admin access to the financial servers, and I really want to watch that gold digger eat crow. I examined him. The calloused hands of a coder, the dark circles of someone burning the midnight oil, the vengeful glint of a man scorned. My kind of people. Tell me, Jake, I whispered. How do you feel about corporate espionage? His grin told me everything I needed to know. You stole my promotion. Let's see how you like losing everything. The fluorescent lights of Jake's basement server room hummed like angry bees, casting eerie blue shadows across racks of blinking equipment. The air smelled of overheated circuits, stale energy drinks, and sweet, sweet vengeance. Perfect. I give you full admin access, Jake said, spinning his chair toward me with a predator's grin. And you promise me front row seats to Emily's professional execution? I cracked my knuckles, the sound echoing off the concrete walls. Better. I'll let you personally detonate the bomb. Every corporate downfall begins with whispers. I started with Sarah from accounting at the coffee machine, letting my hands shake just enough to seem genuinely distressed. You didn't hear this from me, I murmured, leaning in conspiratorially. But I saw Emily having lunch with Robert Sterling last week, at that Italian place he always uses for secret meetings. Sarah's eyes widened. Sterling and Gray? But they're our biggest competitor. I nodded grimly. And get this, she paid with the company card. By noon, the rumor had mutated into something beautiful. Emily had been spotted at Sterling's office after hours. By 2 p.m., someone found a Sterling and Gray business card tucked in her desk drawer. By 3:30, 2 junior analysts swore they'd seen her copying files to a flash drive. While the office buzzed, Jake and I worked in our underground lair. His fingers flew across 3 keyboards simultaneously as I paced, dictating the narrative. Make it sloppy, I instructed, chewing on a pen cap. Like she's smart enough to steal, but too arrogant to cover her tracks properly. Our digital sabotage included 2:17 a.m. logins from Emily's credentials when security logs showed her Uber leaving a club at 2:05. A hidden folder titled SG Deal containing dummy client lists with last week's pricing. Deleted emails with subjects like Sterling discussion, confidential, recovered from the server cache, the masterpiece. A fabricated email chain where Emily trashed Dawson and Pierce's third-rate leadership to mark@sterlinggray.com, including the line, "This place is a joke. Can't wait to bring you the algorithm and get out." The effect was immediate and glorious. During Monday's strategy meeting, our CFO kept glaring at Emily like she'd personally robbed his grandmother. The legal team suddenly demanded audits of all her recent contracts. When she walked by the break room, conversations died mid-sentence. Are people avoiding me? she asked Michael loudly in the hallway, her voice 2 octaves higher than usual. He patted her shoulder with all the warmth of a mortician. Don't be paranoid. But even his collagen-filled smile looked strained. Over whiskey at a dive bar that smelled like fried onions and broken dreams, Jake dropped his bombshell. Emily didn't just dump me, he said, swirling his drink so the ice clinked like falling stock prices. She stole my Market Pulse algorithm, the one that predicts industry shifts 6 months out. That's why Michael suddenly thinks she's a genius. I nearly choked on my bourbon. She's presenting your work as hers? Worse. He leaned in, the neon Budweiser sign painting his face red. She sold it to Sterling and Gray last month. I've got the blockchain transfer receipts and her digital signature. The pieces clicked together with satisfying finality. Michael's sudden merger urgency. Emily's inexplicable value. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. We'd stumbled into corporate espionage. The perfect opportunity arrived. Dawson and Pierce's annual innovation celebration. A room full of investors. An open bar. And Emily, preening in a white Valentino original that probably cost more than my quarterly bonus. While Jake hacked the event's display system from a service closet, I executed Phase 3. Humiliation in high definition. Step 1. Swap my employee badge for a Melissa catering staff tag. Step 2. Secure tray bearing 3 glasses of $200 Bordeaux. Step 3. Position myself near Sterling and Gray's CEO. The collision was poetry in motion. Oh my gosh. I gasped as the Cabernet Sauvignon cascaded down Emily's dress like a waterfall of comeuppance. I'm so sorry, ma'am, she shrieked, batting at the spreading stains like they were radioactive. You stupid, clumsy. Then froze. Recognition flashed in her widened eyes as she took in my poorly concealed smirk. I mouthed, who's predictable now? As Emily fled toward the bathrooms, Jake triggered his digital payload. Every screen in the ballroom, the 85-inch LED walls, the investor tablets, even the bartender's POS system, flickered to life with damning evidence. 1. Emily's deleted emails trashing the company. 2 screenshots of the stolen algorithm on Sterling and Gray letterhead. 3A side-by-side comparison of Jake's original code and Emily's presentation. The room erupted gasps, outraged murmurs, the distinctive sound of a champagne flute shattering on marble. Michael turned the color of spoiled milk. This is a setup, he barked, but the investors were already forming angry clusters, phones out. And Emily? She chose that moment to re-enter, makeup freshly touched up, only to find 200 pairs of eyes burning into her. What? She snapped. Why is everyone? The screens changed again to display a single document, termination notice, Emily Carter. Effective immediately reason, gross misconduct security escorted Emily out within minutes, her ruined dress trailing Merlot droplets like breadcrumbs of disgrace. Michael locked himself in his office with legal. And me? I changed out of my catering uniform in a stairwell, humming Another One Bites the Dust, as Jake appeared with 2 stolen flutes of Dom Perignon. 2 unpredictable women, he toasted, clinking his glass against mine. I took a long sip, savoring the bubbles and victory. This is just the opening act. Because tomorrow, we release the Bermuda Files, and Michael's going to wish he'd never heard my name. You wanted to play dirty? Let me show you how it's done. The champagne bubbles still tingled on my tongue when Jake's phone lit up with the notification we'd been waiting for. He turned the screen toward me, his face illuminated by the pale glow of decrypted files. Anna, he breathed. This is bigger than we thought. The Bermuda Files weren't just embarrassing. They were criminal. Transaction records showed $2.3 million funneled through shell companies, fake invoices for non-existent services, even a signed confession from the former CFO that Michael had pressured into early retirement. The dates lined up perfectly with that suspicious fishing trip Michael had taken last year. I ran my finger along the edge of Jake's laptop, tracing the digital trail that would end Michael's career. This isn't just about getting fired, I murmured. This is prison time. We worked through the night, crafting the perfect delivery method. Jake used his backdoor access to upload the files to every board member's private storage. I programmed emails to hit their inboxes precisely at 8:30 a.m., when they'd all be settling into their morning routines. The pièce de résistance? Setting Michael's office printer to spit out copies every 15 minutes. A relentless paper trail he couldn't ignore. Dawn found me perched outside the executive wing, sipping terrible coffee from a paper cup, watching through the slatted blinds as the first board members arrived. At 8:31 a.m., the shouting began. By 8:47, security had locked down Michael's office. When they dragged Emily in at 9:12, her usually perfect makeup was already smudged with tears. Michael's voice carried through the door, shrill with panic. This is all Emily's doing. She had access to those accounts. Even for him, the betrayal was breathtaking. While the executives screamed themselves hoarse, I slipped into Emily's abandoned office. The pink Zare Girl Boss mug still sat on her desk, half full of now cold latte. I left my parting gift beside it. A bubble wand engraved with "World's Best Backstabber," a bottle of cheap champagne, the kind she'd always pretended to hate, and my business card with a handwritten note. Dreams, like bubbles, look pretty until they pop. P.S. Say hi to McDonald's for me. By noon, federal agents escorted Michael out in handcuffs. Emily received a lawsuit for conspiracy to commit fraud before she'd even finished packing her desk. The company stock plummeted 40% in a single afternoon. Jake found me in the records room, methodically shredding documents. You realize you just destroyed a Fortune 500 company, right? I fed the last file into the shredder, watching the confetti of Michael's career spiral into the bin. No, I corrected. I just removed a cancer. The next morning, I drafted my resignation letter on Dawson & Pierce's embossed stationery, the paper thick and expensive under my pen. Outside my window, the city glittered with possibilities. Revenge was sweet, but freedom? That would taste even better. This was never about getting even. This was about getting free. The resignation letter looked obscenely small in my hands, a single sheet of expensive stationery ending 5 years of my life. I let it hover over the outbox for a dramatic second before releasing it with a satisfying click, the sound of shackles breaking. Across Manhattan, in a corner office that still technically bore my name, Michael Dawson was being arraigned on federal fraud charges. Emily Carter, if the rumors were true, was currently sobbing into a martini at some overpriced hotel bar, her designer wardrobe already being liquidated to pay legal fees. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I just felt light. The board called me within an hour of my resignation hitting HR's inbox. Anna? Chairman Whitmore's voice crackled through my phone. We want you back. Name your price. VP of Marketing, Senior VP. Hell, we'll create a CMO position if you want. I watched sunlight dance across my tiny apartment walls. I want my clients. A pause. Excuse me? Not your clients, Richard. Mine. The Carmichael account I built from scratch. The Lawson rebrand I salvaged. The entire Morrison portfolio. I twirled a pen between my fingers. They'll follow me anywhere. You know that. The silence stretched so long I thought we'd been disconnected. Then, you're bluffing. I hung up and texted Jake one word. Go. By noon, 7 of Dawson & Pierce's top clients had requested contract termination clauses. By 3 p.m., the stock dipped another 15%. At 4:30, a courier arrived at my door with a signed release agreement and a bottle of 25-year Macallan. My new office smelled of fresh paint and possibility. Jake, now my gloriously unshaven CTO, was mounting a neon sign that read NOBULL SHITALLOWED above his workstation. Breaking news, he called, tapping his laptop. Dawson just pled guilty to 3 counts of financial fraud. The video showed Michael being led away in handcuffs, his $3,000 suit wrinkled, his spray tan streaked with sweat. I raised my coffee mug in a mock toast. May he enjoy federal accommodations. The TikTok notification popped up at 2:37 a.m. Some barista had filmed a disheveled Emily screaming at a customer who didn't understand her grande oat milk latte requirements. The clip ended with her slipping and dumping an entire tray of coffees on herself. Corporate downfall, Shach, karma. McDonald's. Hiring had already gone viral. Jake forwarded it with the caption, "Guess who just got Employee of the Month at Starbucks?" The letter arrived on the 1-year anniversary of my resignation. Thick cream stationery with the Dawson and Pierce logo crossed out violently. Inside, Sarah from accounting's neat handwriting. "Anna, they promoted me to VP after you left, then fired me 6 months later when restructuring. Joke's on them. I took the London team with me. P.S. saw Emily last week. She asked if we were hiring." I framed it next to our first $1 million contract. My corner office windows framed the Chrysler Building like a trophy. Below, taxis crawled through Midtown, tiny as toys. Somewhere down there, Michael was probably appealing his conviction. Emily might be crying into another latte. But up here? Up here, the coffee was perfect. The clients were loyal. And the only person I answered to was the badass in the reflection. I took a sip of espresso, savoring the bitter richness. Justice, it turned out, tasted exactly like freedom. Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so you don't miss more unbelievable real-life stories.